Hi, I'm Rick Lobdell. Welcome to another episode of Concrete Mystique, the podcast. This show is brought to you by Epoxy Depot. Go to epoxydepotusa.com and check out all their great products. Follow me on all social media platforms. Today on the show, Isaiah Pride. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Concrete Mystique podcast. Today, I have Isaiah Pride with me. Now, my first question, Isaiah, is when did we first meet?
Ooh.
Do you remember?
I think
because I think it's the same time. It is
I think
Deco
it was
Creed.
Deco Expo, yeah.
See, I asked that
2 or 3
question
years
for
ago,
a reason, because people like you and I come across people all the time, and we never know when we actually remember we never remember the first time we meet you, because we don't really, you're talking to us from the middle of a project or the middle of competition or whatever we're doing. And so
I think you and I had a couple conversations on the phone. I think you actually provided tech support to me on a surf coat product before we ever actually met.
Really?
That's
why I asked this question, because I don't know. That's exactly the point of the question.
So we had spoke several times before we met at the Deco Creed Expo, and I'm not positive what year that was. It's been a few years.
Well, it might not have been me then, because it's only been
ago.
3 years that I've been part of that.
It was 3 of surf coat.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago, because we have another expo coming up in March, right?
Yeah.
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 Yep. So 3 years ago now.
And then 2 years ago at the expo, we were introduced to each other.
Correct.
But one of the things that I noticed about you is that you're kind of shy.
Yeah.
You kind of stay
humble.
away from everything.
Yep.
I really thought I was going to see you out and get to know you, and I never saw you other than during the day.
Yes.
Is that a common thing for you?
Yeah, I think I spent a lot of my life, my earlier years, running and gunning. The older that I get, the less that I do other than work, It's all I do. So if I'm not actively working on the job site somewhere, then I'm catching up the paperwork in the evening. Is
that what it is? So it's not that you don't want to go out and talk to people, it's that you have too much else going on.
Correct.
Okay, that's an interesting thing. That's why I've been been wanting to ask you that question since I met you, because I was like waiting out, I'm out in public going, where the heck is Isaiah? What is going on?
Right. Yep. Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of that, and to be completely honest with you, I'm not that I'm introverted, and I hold my own in public and in business and talking, and
because every time I've talked to you, I've never had a problem. It's not
I'm articulate enough to carry on, and the professionalism and whatnot, but I am okay solo. A lot of people they feed on the interaction. It's okay. It's not right or wrong. A lot of people it's almost a lifestyle balance thing. They need that as part of their go-to. I spend a considerable amount of time in my life all by myself.
Really?
Yes, sir. And I'm okay in that
I am
position.
not.
Yeah, and I wasn't speaking about you directly, but it's different personality types, and that's what makes it beautiful. You know what I mean?
Man. I love being out here. I love being a part of all
But that's why you're successful in what you're doing, because that is your style, and people are receiving of that, just like I do. I dig it. I dig your style because your enthusiasm and you're outgoing. And
it's funny you say that, because for years people.
You just pulled me up, not to cut you off, but you just pulled me up on the podcast.
Yes.
I mean that is you, and that's why I enjoy that.
I appreciate that, man.
That is your style.
Well, but it's interesting, because when I first got onto the scene, I wasn't like that.
Yeah.
I was it's not that I wanted to meet everybody, but at the same time, I was kind of like, I had a little bit of an attitude, almost like a little bit of an arrogance. And I kind of felt like, are you worthy of my time?
Yeah.
And I had that problem for a long time. I really did.
Yeah.
And when I got over it, I found out that people were like, well, you're too intimidating to talk to.
Yeah.
I don't know I can go talk to you. And I'm like, why not? Like, I don't understand.
Do you think that was a real result of arrogance, or do you think that is a condition of past experience? And I'll flesh that out a little bit.
What do you mean by past experience?
Well, I noticed that there's other people that I end up, that it may be a slow start to a relationship. You and I have been jiving a little bit here and there for the past couple of years, and over the last 3, 4, 6 months, maybe our relationship has started to increase. You know what I mean?
Well, this year at Decocrete, without a question, jumped it. It really jumped it because we finally started talking.
But you're one of those personality types that, though you may interact with a lot of people, and you're obviously outgoing enough to carry conversations with everybody, you are very much one of those people that is slow to allow a true, genuine relationship to build.
Well,
in my opinion, I'm not judging. I'm not saying.
No. It's completely okay. And that's why this is the whole point of the podcast. I want people to know about us. This isn't about what your business plan is. This isn't what you're going to do next.
It's meeting the real you.
It's meeting the real
you.
Social
it's the media
whole point.
Today, it just gets so confined.
And people need to know that that's a problem.
Absolutely.
I completely agree with you.
Yep.
But at the same time, no, because it was really about the fact that it wasn't arrogant.
Truly arrogant.
It was truly arrogant.
At least you admit that.
Exactly
that is
the
awesome.
point.
Huge respect.
No, I had a lot of friends that had to help me get through that.
Yeah.
Because I kept looking and I'm like, what's your point? I don't get it.
Right.
I don't see what I'm doing wrong.
Right.
So what if I'm super confident in what I do?
Ends up closing off opportunity.
But you got to look at it and you got to go, well, look, I went to grad school for art. What do you think they taught me in art school? They didn't tell me to be a quiet person in the corner.
Right.
That's what you need
You're
to
building
do.
Your confidence.
You have to.
Yes.
And you walk away from something like that, it's not easy.
Right.
You know, people think that art school is the easiest class you can go to for college.
Right. So you walk out of it with a heightened sense of confidence. You had to put the work in.
You're supposed to be a badass. When you leave grad school, you are supposed to be a badass instantaneously.
I understand.
And then you go into an industry that knows nothing about art,
right?
And they don't know what to do with you. I have to stick to that badass mentality. Well, of course I'm better than you.
Right.
No, I am not. For the record, no, I am not better than anybody.
Huge respect for you saying that. Too.
No, I'm not, and I never will be. But it took me years, seriously, to get over that.
I'll be completely honest with you right now. I'll be completely honest. I'm extremely thankful you and I are having this conversation because it was maybe even as early as a few months ago, right? Your name comes up and people know, they've seen us take pictures together, they see us communicating on Facebook, and they assume that we have a relationship because of the comments back and forth, and you're like, I met him a couple times, he just seems, I don't know if he's a dick or if he's a good dude, what is it, he just doesn't like me? And I said the same thing a couple times, right? So I'm always like, I think that Rick is a hard character to put a pin on, right? He's not going to give you a whole lot, but so just as recent as a few months ago, the same conversation, I can only recall who it was, and I'm not lying about that, it's cool. I remember it, and I said at the time, I think that I'm starting to get a dial on Rick. I said, I think that he probably has a touch of well-deserved arrogance, right? But at the same breath, he will tell you what he thinks, and it comes across in an arrogant manner. He boosts you up. And I said, the problem is that he's coming at you with two swords. You know what I mean? Rick will chop your nuts off at the same time while he's boosting you up.
That's it.
I said he is tough to get a grip on, and I appreciate that at the same time.
But that's also because I'm not used to this industry.
Yes.
I don't get it because I don't even understand why people keep bringing me around.
Yep.
Like being a part of ASCC changed my entire world.
Yes, which is another huge credit to you.
I mean, it really did, and that's where I learned that attitude issue. Because then you're sitting with the best of the best of the best.
Right.
The most influential of all time.
Yep.
And you can't go in there with an attitude. I did. That's where it started.
Right.
My best story about that is the first year I went to ASCC, I was a non-member.
Okay.
And I went there with an attitude, and I said, you need me, I don't need you. And I'm not kidding, this is a true story. I went to the director of the place, and I flat out said, you need me, I don't need you. And she looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? And so then I'm sitting at the bar talking to one of my best friends now, Clark Brano, and we laugh about this all the time. And I'm sitting there talking about myself, and he's like, man, you have a really cool background. I think it would be a really cool seminar at World of Concrete. And I was like, dude, I don't think anybody gives a shit about what I think. And he goes, well, I do, and I'm on the board that decides who does the seminars. And I was like, wait, what? And all of a sudden I realized where I'm at.
Yes.
What's going on.
Yes.
And I had to literally go, hold on a second. Hi, I'm Rick Lovedo. It's nice to meet you. I am so sorry that I had an attitude, and I changed my entire reality with him.
That's awesome.
And those are the people that are checking my ego.
Yes, that's awesome.
And I don't know if anybody can hear us for as loud as this is getting, so we might have to cut this short.
No, I appreciate the opportunity sitting here, and in the event that people can hear us, I did have one question, and then we can shut it down.
No, you go right ahead, man.
You mentioned the ASCC. It's another thing that, you know, when we talked about floor wars and you being here as a judge, you know, and you were definitely thankful, and you voiced that your thankfulness to be considered or asked to judge, you know, and I appreciate you accepting that. But the fact that you truly put in the effort to stay consistent in the ASCC and things of that nature, and promoting the growth of a legitimate growth for other people within the industry I'm giving you a huge salute right now.
Thank you.
I think more people need to do that, and I'm not in any way being disparaging about age, but when you think about you, Bob Harris, you know, Rebecca Viscardo, with the exception of Ben Bass, who is younger, but he's along in the same crowd, and he's putting in those personal hours to promote an industry that could continue to be beautiful for a lot of people after you, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a huge credit due to you and people like Rebecca and Bob Harris, and there's others, you know. I think that it's important for people who may not understand how much effort that you and Bob and Rebecca, what you are actually doing behind closed doors. I don't think people understand.
No, they don't.
The effort you put in.
They don't even realize the closed door.
I do, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate that, man.
The huge level of respect for it. And
you know, to the same point too, when I first got involved with that kind of stuff, I thought, what's in it for me?
Yep.
And everybody I talk to, when I tell them about ASCC, they say, well, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
That's not the point at all.
Right.
It's about the bigger picture of the industry. Do
Yes.
you want to see what's going on? Do you want to be involved with what's going on?
Yep.
Do you want to see the changes that are happening?
Correct.
Like right now, we have with concrete pouring, we have this 1L stuff
that someone else is going to enjoy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you learn so much because of it.
Yep.
You have no idea how much you learn going to the conferences.
Yep.
You went to the conference to get the award, but you didn't stay for the rest of it.
Yes.
You don't realize what these classes do, what the conversations are with the people. And it's one of those things that I got it quickly. I can't believe I got it quickly because, again, I had that arrogance when I did it.
Yes.
And I changed my attitude, and I started learning from everybody. Every year I go, I learn something new.
Yep.
And you can't, there's not a price for that.
And you went, agreed 100%. And it's not just the networking. It's the knowledge that you're willing to absorb from other people who have been there and done it longer than you, or maybe the same amount of time, but from a different perspective.
And the last thing that it does is it adds your credibility to what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You know, to say that not only I'm a member, but I'm on the board, I'm on the DCC board, and the things that I'm doing, it brought that extra credibility.
Yes.
The awards that you've done will build that credibility.
Absolutely.
You can use those to your advantage for your advertising.
Absolutely.
The more you get, the better it gets.
And I do.
Absolutely, I did too.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I mean, I get to sit there and gloat and go, well, I have 16 national awards.
Right.
Actually,
Right.
they're technically international awards
Right.
now, really.
Right.
On top of that,
It's a huge. You're a monster as far as installations go. That's what I'm saying. You have huge credibility because you've been there and done it. You have the repertoire, the portfolio. You know how to do this shit. But in addition to that, someone like me, the real appreciation that I have for what you do and what you are continuing to do is the things that a lot of people know you do badass work. A lot of people know that you've been around for a long time doing installs. You have the credibility, but what I think it's important and what I'm trying to push out there for people who are not aware, they may consider wanting to look at other things that you guys are doing on that upper level, because I think it's important that we push people into that.
I agree, because we need a new crowd.
Yes.
We need the younger generation involved.
Yes.
100% agree with you, and I'm trying to figure that out.
Yep.
Because I'm not the young crowd anymore.
Right.
I was when I joined. I am not anymore.
The most prominent figures in that, and the most prominent figures in the industry who are continuing to do the things that you guys have been doing, carrying the torch, blazing the way, the scariest thing is it's such a beautiful thing that could continue to blossom and become bigger than what you guys have been able to push it to. But we have to have others that are
Yes.
as enthusiastic.
Yes.
And it's not that you guys are unwilling to give what you have. You guys are the most open book ever. So I think if I can contribute anything to this conversation and what, your podcast and the limited humble following that I have, I think that I would encourage everybody to look into that. The ASCC, follow Rick Lindell, Concrete Mystique, Bob Harris. I think that it's important that we start to get behind guys like you and Bob and Rebecca, women like Rebecca, and pushing the industry farther.
I agree with you, man.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here, man.
Absolutely. Well, me too. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
This is all about you. You're the one that called me. You're the one that asked me to do this. I wanted to do it right away, and it is that attitude change to the same point that we're talking about.
Yep.
We joked about this the other day. 15 years ago, I would have said, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And that's the attitude change I had to make. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be asked because of my knowledge or whatever it is and everything that goes into it.
And you're appreciated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're
I hope
appreciated
so.
across. Absolutely. And I'm thankful that you took me up on it. And that's, I wouldn't want the whole board, the panel of judges that we have, I don't think it could be any more perfect.
I think it's great. It's a great start. I can't wait to see what happens next. Well, thank you very much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Good to see you as
And
always.
good luck tomorrow finishing this up.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you where we stand as judges yet.
I wouldn't push you on it. I think it's, and honestly, and I mean this with the utmost sincerity, I think that I'm going to count it as a home run regardless of the outcome.
Absolutely.
It's great for the industry.
It
It's
is.
great for the contestants. I've
It
had
is.
a blast, and win, lose, or draw, I'm excited.
I agree, because everybody's talking about it, and
Yep.
that's the point.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
You guys
you, Rick.
all have a great day. I know it's loud here right now because there's a band about to start. And we'll get together after this, since
Absolutely.
we live close to each other,
Yes,
and we'll
sir,
talk
we need
more
to.
about the details,
For sure.
especially if we can't hear very much, if we have to do this again. But,
Yes, sir.
but we'll get into a lot more detail. And everybody, you have a great time. Thank you. I want to thank Epoxy Depot for sponsoring this show. Go to epoxydepotusa.com and check out all their great products, training classes, and all the things they have to offer. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for listening and have a great day.